And I did not keep my promise. So what are you learning about me already? Am I a liar? Or I don't want to be. I don't mean to be. Sorry if I... Nope, can't say sorry if you're not going to change the action. So in a humble attempt to myself and the internet, let's get it done. Oh, there's my dog sniffing at the door right there. Hang on. You want to come in? No? Poodle? Guess not. All right. So I've been going back and forth trying to file for unemployment through IDS's website, and it is unable to process. I have reached out to ABC7. I have reached out to WGN. I've reached out to NBC, all the investigative teams, and while I don't anticipate hearing anything back, I hope that those that have more power of flex and influence can help get to the bottom of why, as ABC7 reported in May, Governor Pritzker said that they were putting I want to get the direct quote, so let me look this up. I don't want to misquote this. Sorry. My apologies, everybody. How are you doing today? Huh? How's it going? Hope everybody's okay. Not really sure where you find yourself. I don't know what problems and trials you have, but I hope that you're rising to the occasion today. I know I wasn't. I know that I need to be. Where the hell is this thing? Oh, now she wants in. Okay. Come on. Hi. Nothing, huh? Okay. Just give me the stink eye. That's what Karen Terriers do. Why am I only getting California's information? This doesn't make any sense. Well, this is off to a really good start with this recording. A lot of dead air. This is beautiful. Yeah. I'm not going to be able to get the direct quote. Okay. So he said in May, from ABC's reporting, the best of my knowledge and memory, that they were doing all they could to ramp up employment staffing resources to ensure that IDS's website would be functional for the anticipated claims that would be coming their way. This was in May of last year. On the website this morning, and I try every single night. I try around like midnight or 1 if I wake up when I can't sleep, because I can't sleep, because my ears are ringing constantly. They're not as bad. The ringing's gone down. I hope nobody else is experiencing that, but I, again, have not been challenged like this ever before in my life. I have not had real strife and struggle. I have had extremely stressful jobs. I've had extremely stressful relationships. And I've had amazing jobs and amazing relationships and have an amazing relationship. I've been pushed mentally. I've been pushed physically. I have suffered, a run-of-the-mill broken bones and back surgery and a brain tumor, an acoustic neuroma to be precise. And I always, internally I just rise to the occasion. I go, all right, this is what I have. This is what it is. So how do we get better? And there are days, and hopefully those days are limited, But there are days when it feels rough, and it feels tough, and it feels undoable, and it feels scary, and etc., and the fear that comes with it. But I always try. I don't always succeed, and I need to stop using the word try and just, again, like Master Yoda says, just fucking do it. So I rise to the occasion, or I do my best to rise to the occasion each day. Now, this month, January, I have done probably the worst of the entire pandemic at rising to the occasion. I have not been kind to myself mentally. I've not been kind to my friends. I've not been kind to my family. I'm mad. I'm in a constant state of rage because of others. And as my wife points out, I know that's not the way to be. I was so excited and fearful, but excited when I was dismissed from the position that was giving me panic attacks, that was putting a wedge in the way I perceived people that I worked with, in the way that I perceived friends that I worked with, in the way that I perceived the job that I was doing, that clouded my vision, clouded my emotions, and warped my head. That if we don't do something better, we're all going to lose our job. And because I spoke up loudly and often and incorrectly, I lost my job. So I had to learn a lesson. Life is about learning lessons. But as I said before, I hadn't been pushed, really pushed like this ever before, where I would see others, neighbors, friends, family, not adhere to the guidance provided by the CDC, provided by the WHO, provided by the American government to the best of their ability. Now, we can get into a long-form debate, and I'm happy to do so over our course of our communication about the conspiratorial side of things. Are you really trusting the government? Did we really land on the moon? No. We didn't. Not when it was broadcast, at least. The audio might have been live. No refutes in that. But the film technology could not, period, produce those images, period, at that time, period. And that's just technically true. So we know the government uses propaganda. We watch all of the news media that's produced in the past 20 years that swing left and right. Some say everything's fine. Some say the world is burning. Government says pay your taxes, we got you. But then they don't. And the state doesn't. And the county doesn't. And the city doesn't. And they're trying as hard as they can. But are they? The mayor's salaries don't change. The politicians' salaries don't change. No one's working for free and serving for free. They're still getting paid. We're paying them still. But now with 1 million jobs, nearly 1 million jobs filed of unemployment claims in this country in the past month alone, how are they going to continue to get their money if we don't have ours? If we can't contribute, where do they get theirs from? They bailed out corporations first. Then they bailed them out again. Then they bailed them out again. And so on and so forth. And this all leads up to my frustration with the state of affairs. I don't understand why the, quotes, greatest nation in the world, end quotes, is not taking care of its citizens, is not protecting and defending, and is not ensuring liberty and justice for all. That's what I believe in. That's why we say the pledge. That's why we live where we live. And that's why we all believe in freedom. I didn't understand that our country believed in freedom so much that in mass, not total, but in mass, we were telling the world, not just ourselves, the world, our freedom supersedes our compassion. Our freedom supersedes our humility. Our freedom supersedes others. My freedom is mine, and you will never tell me what to do with my freedom. But I live in a society. And if you're not living in the society for the society, what is your purpose of living in the society and not living alone? Not living outside the confines of a society. Thankfully, my partner and I have income. We have a roof over our head, and we have food in our refrigerator and food in our pantry. While we miss gravely, and as a social butterfly, I miss people. My instincts are to hug. My instincts are to embrace, and I have had to relearn all of my characteristics throughout this endeavor in order to ensure that others remain safe. I have taken drastic steps. I have adhered to the guidelines, sometimes egregiously, aggressively, but I do my part. I have tried extremely hard not to enforce my views upon others. I will often communicate loudly, but I try my hardest, and I failed at work. I own that, at telling others what I think they should do, instead of offering a suggestion or offering an idea of what we could be doing, but not what I believe is the only solution. I'm going to head and be egotistical for a minute, and I am good at seeing patterns. I know that about myself. I'm not good at understanding the resolution, but I'm good at seeing patterns and trends. The Biden administration warned us a month before taking office, directly after the November 3rd election. November 7th, sorry. That the darkest days were ahead of us. Was that because they had information? The former administration did nothing? The very minimum, even below minimum, to prepare us for this? Yet, the former administration recanted multiple times. Well, the cupboards were bare. There was nothing left. This country was a joke. But there was a vaccine for the former president when he got sick. There were experimental drugs available for the president when he contracted COVID. And he was back to work relatively soon, at a high risk, just for his age. And let's be honest, his weight alone, among a myriad of other health factors. But his doctors say he's the fittest human to ever walk the planet of the earth. He's number one. Obviously, I'm embellishing. So the frustration mounts with the government will always know. It will always have information. We've lost the ability to be honest. Sorry, the government has lost the ability to be honest to the American people because they have chosen not to be honest. I wonder if you know who the sergeant in arms reports to. I think if you do some research and find out who the sergeant in arms bosses actually is, who the sergeant in arms serves, and further do some information to find out the communication of who were actually the people that said directly to those expressing their concern, much like I did at my job, that, hey, we're not doing enough. This is going to be a problem. To those ahead of them, to those above them in the chain of command, those in the chain of command, and again, I'll let you do your research, informed that they did not want to make a PR blunder as they did in June when they used national troops to gas protesters to have the former president, walk across the street to hold a Bible upside down for a photo op. They didn't want the same kind of fallout and backlash should this not be a thing. Yet the city of D.C. requires a permit to be granted in order to have a gathering in mass outside, and was issued one to the Trump administration for the gathering a month before the former president was tweeting out in December, come to this rally. So there was time. And don't we have the FBI, CIA, and NSA? Aren't they listening at all times? Aren't they constantly monitoring everything? Don't we all carry a smart device, or most of us carry a smart device with us so that we can be tracked and listened to? I mean, so we can watch YouTube? So they know that we know that they know. Yet we know they either don't care or what? Again, we have food, we have a roof, we have rent, we have money. when you input everything on IDS's website, this is what drives the rage, and you hit continue, when you fill out all of the forms, your driver's license number, your issuing state, your first name, middle initial, last name, your birth date, your weight, your social security number. And that weight is directly related to your driver's license to make sure that they're correlating everything. I know it's a weird one, but it's all in the ID. And then the last question, is your name, first name or middle or initial or last name, different than that listed on the indication above? And you click yes or no. And click no, because it's the same. When you hit continue, it reloads the same registration form. It then tells you at the top, in order to register, you must have a valid driver's license or state ID card. Check. You must either enter your information, you must enter your information accurately, or unemployment insurance benefits may be denied. Please contact the IDS Claimant Services Center, and it provides a number for further assistance. When you call that number, you don't get a live representative, and you follow the prompts, you're able to put yourself on a call waiting list in the order which your call was received. I called ahead of my final day of employment, which was January 16th. I called on the 13th of January. Now, I had called at the time, again, fortunate, lucky me, my company decided to lay me off, and 13 others during the pandemic for business reasons. But as such, they kept our employment for another 2.5 months and then released us from duty for an additional month with pay. I'm extremely fortunate. I don't know how lucky I've gotten. And the day after I found out that I would be losing my job, I instantly contacted IDS. Called the number, didn't fill out the form, because I knew that, well, I was still employed, so it would deny me, because it would see that I still have employment. So was my thinking. So I called the number instead, just to speak with a representative. That took 2.5 weeks. And when I talked to somebody who was extremely aggressive, very quick, and again, only being honest with the communication I received, not putting fault on the person. I can't imagine the amount of work they have to be under, the stress that they're under. Again, all of us going through something most of us have never had to go through before. Understood. Without knowing my sense of self, with losing everyday bits of who I am and becoming somebody different, I get blurred communication and blurred vision and blurred speech and blurred emotions to the point where I physically get blurred vision. My speech never slurred, thankfully. My mental fog increased. Was that because I got COVID in October? It took me 18 days to get over it. What are the long-term effects? I don't know. And I'm not a martyr. A lot of people have gotten COVID. But over 400,000 have contracted it and not made it around the other side. Their time on this planet cut short. Their gifts taken away. But a memory they've become. And do we honor it? Or do we still do partisan politics? Does the first thing the 117th Congress passed legislation about language? Or was it COVID relief? Read yesterday that the president intends to replace Andrew Jackson on the 20 with Harry Tubman. Cool. COVID? Not that that's a bad thing. Not that it's progressive. Not that it's showing a sign of character. Not that it's embracing the times. Not that it's doing the right thing, taking a former racist off of our currency. But, you know, this country wasn't ours. So we left a place because we didn't like what they were telling us to do and came to another place and told the people we found here what to do. And when they didn't comply, we killed them and took their property. So, okay, it gets squirrely, but, you know, our ideals are, as the president says, better angels is what we should be appealing to. So, I spoke to the representative and informed me that I could not apply until the last day of my employment, and that if the website doesn't work, to reach out to the number, call the phone number, and the representative would be able to assist. Well, I asked if before I lost my employment, it took about 2.5 weeks to hear back from the IDES. Do we think in the future, when we're anticipating some of the greatest job loss from the information we were getting around the time, leading up to it was like, winter's going to be bad. And then around November, the president was like, winter's going to be hella bad. Just like Ned Stark, winter is coming. Can I anticipate the same wait time? Again, a question that nobody can answer correctly. To which the representative said, and I quote, I don't know. That's the information I obtained from the department telling me, we've got you financially because you lost your job to no fault of your own. We're here to help. Telling me, I don't know. How many other citizens here? I don't know. It's been 12 days. Yeah, 12 days. Oh my God, no, that's wrong. It's been 11 days since I filed, or rather, was unable to file again for again, at every attempt where it just refreshes the page. It doesn't accept anything. I've contacted the TTY number. I've gone to every extension on the IDS's phone number. I've tried everything to get a human. And I still have my place in line being held since January 13th. It's the 27th. They're busy. I know they are. When do we, as citizens, to no fault of our own, receive assistance from our government, who is sworn to protect and serve us, to ensure liberty and justice for all? Then my brain starts going, as it often does, and I remember a speech that Dwight D. Eisenhower gave on, I believe it was January 17th, 1961, his final day in office. If I got that wrong, it might have been his second to last day, but it was his final speech to the American people, where he warned us about a coming threat, one that we self-created. And it's interesting that because I'm mad, because I'm rage-filled, because I'm upset, but because I want to do more, I look to this as inspiration. As we all know, if we don't learn from the past, we're doomed to repeat it. I know for my health mentally and for my health physically, I must continue working out, trying to be a badass, meagerly every day, continuing the things that bring me joy, when they bring me joy, as they bring me joy, without shirking them off, changing my order of operations, changing my head, continuing my meditation, continuing all the practices that I have forgotten in the past month since January 6th, when I watched our country go through what we went through. I wasn't scared because I was afeared we're being attacked. I was scared because I think and I believe we are losing and showing the world we have maybe losing who we are. Well, I also don't agree with that, because I know who we are. You know who we are. Why are we having a hard time showing the world who we are? Or we're showing the world who we are. It will be. Right or wrong, good or bad, it will be. We have to remember that. Humans want to control. Your brain wants to have knowledge. Your brain wants to think it has a functional way forward. It wants to believe it knows the right course of action. But I believe if it's not aligned with your heart and your soul, then your brain can become an enemy. Your thoughts matter. Orwell warned us of this, and where do you think he got his information from? So I'm just going to play a little snippet from former President Dwight D. Eisenhower's speech. I think it may surprise you.
So my official relationship with the Congress ends in a feeling, on my part, of gratitude that we have been able to do so much together. We now stand 10 years past the midpoint of a century that has witnessed 4 major wars among great nations.
So he's grateful that he was able to work with the Congress. But his next transition is straight to war. Okay.
3 of these involved our own country. Despite these holocausts, America is today the strongest, the most influential, and most productive nation in the world.
Yet, the former president wanted to make America great again. As if we were not great because of what? If this is 1961, and Eisenhower is proclaiming to the world we are the best, is that because we were, or because we needed to appear to be? Interesting. Also, war was the first word he used, then he used Holocaust after. Completely different connotation. Interesting.
Understandably proud of this preeminence, we yet realize that America's leadership and prestige depend not merely upon our unmatched material progress, riches, and military strength, but on how we use our power in the interest of world peace and human betterment.
Why does he keep saying military power and then pivot to peace? What are you getting at, former President Dwight D. Eisenhower? What are you trying to tell us?
Throughout America's adventure in free government, our basic purposes have been to keep the peace, to foster progress in human achievement, and to enhance liberty, dignity, and integrity among peoples and among nations.
Do you guys feel like we enhance liberty, dignity, and integrity? Sorry, I can't even say you guys. I shouldn't be saying that. So that should. It would be kind of me not to say you guys. Do you all think we've done that?
To strive for less would be unworthy of a free and religious people.
To strive for less would be unworthy of a free and religious people, harking back on why this country was founded, the ideals it was founded for. Again, not correctly, and definitely not right off the bat. Let's be clear about that for sure.
Any failure traceable to arrogance or our lack of comprehension or readiness to sacrifice would inflict upon us grievous hurt.
That's pretty deep, okay?
Both at home and abroad.
Uh-oh.
Progress toward these noble goals is persistently threatened by the conflict now engulfing the world.
Okay, we're getting somewhere. What is this conflict? Former President Dwight D. Eisenhower, what is this conflict that is engulfing the world that you're warning the American people, your citizens, as Commander-in-Chief, leader of the free world in 1961? What are you building to, sir?
It commands our whole attention, absorbs our very beings. We face a hostile ideology, global in scope, atheistic in character, ruthless in purpose, and insidious in method.
But we beat the Nazis, so... And then we founded NASA. So...
Unhappily, the danger it poses promises to be of indefinite duration.
Uh-oh, indefinite duration? So this conflict is never going to stop? Holy shit, a war that's never going to stop? Well, that can't be, because you go to war with a country, or you go to war with an ideology. Uh-oh.
To meet it successfully, there is call for not so much the emotional and transitory sacrifices of crisis.
So you're just going to shrug off the byproduct of war, the emotional toil. Okay, it's getting bigger.
but rather those which enable us to carry forward steadily, surely, and without complaint, the burdens of a prolonged and complex struggle with liberty, the state.
I remember listening to this when I was younger. I think I discovered this at like, I don't know, 14, 15? And kept playing that. Liberty, the state. The state of liberty is in jeopardy? But this is America. Right, okay, here we go.
Only thus shall we remain, despite every provocation, on our charted course toward permanent peace and human betterment. Crises there will continue to be. In meeting them, whether foreign or domestic, great or small, there is a recurring temptation to feel that some spectacular and costly action could become the miraculous solution to all current difficulties.
Yeah, but we got the vaccine coming. We're going to be good. We're going to roll them out over the next 100 days, and we're going to double the efforts, and we're going to have 600 million vaccines, and we got this from 2 to 3 different companies. And now they're one of the same type of vaccine, but the other is literally going to inject COVID into you to produce a response, even though we know that your T cells can't replicate an immune response. This virus that lives in your nasal passage does not allow your body to remember it, to produce the antibodies, to give your system a fighting chance of the next time, not when, the next time it is contracted by a host. The host's internal system can defend to the best of its ability. It is as if our house will continue to be broken in, and no matter how many alarms we set, we're never going to wake up during the break-in. Okay.
A huge
But that's where we are now.
In newer elements of our defenses. Development of unrealistic programs to cure every ill in agriculture.
Oops.
A dramatic expansion in basic and applied research. These and many other possibilities, each possibly promising in itself, may be suggested as the only way to the road we wish to travel.
Okay.
But each proposal must be weighed in the light of a broader consideration. The need to maintain balance in and among national programs.
Well, if they're national programs and they're working for the people, aren't they already balanced? Wouldn't they represent the populaces in which they're supposed to serve?
Balance between the private and the public economy.
Oh, shit. Well, we fucked that one up.
Balance between the cost and hoped-for advantages. Balance between the clearly necessary and the comfortably desirable.
But I need my phone. How else am I going to get around? Am I going to look at a fucking map or just remember my street?
Balance between our essential requirements as a nation.
Like going to the grocery store? Like getting our food procured by someone else, somewhere, that we don't know, that we trust the packaging, and we trust the labeling, and we, royal we, not all of us. There are many that shop local. There are many that produce local. There are many that eat local. But that comes at a heavy cost. Why?
And the duties imposed by the nation upon the individual.
The duties imposed by the nation on the individual? What duties? Pay your taxes. And pay.
Balance between actions of the moment and the national welfare of the future.
Oh no, the cupboard was bare because we didn't act on the national welfare. We disengaged the pandemic response 2 years before we needed it. The national welfare. Okay. How come the food pyramid had a ton more carbs than we needed at the base for a long time? How come we keep running ads for cereal that has nothing but sugar for children? Okay.
Good judgment seeks balance and progress.
You can't tell me what to think. What I think is good, what our citizens on January 6th thought was good, is different than what I think is good. That gets squirrely, Mr. Former President.
Back of it eventually finds imbalance and frustration.
That's where we're at.
The record of many decades stands as proof that our people and their government have, in the main, understood these truths and have responded to them well in the face of threat and stress.
Well, how do you feel we have, as a government, responded to our citizens in the face of threat and stress in the past year? Shit, in the past 20 decades, 30 to 40 decades. Vietnam. Take a pick. How have we responded? Now, organizations, private citizens, and politicians all have lent their hand across the quote-unquote aisles, have leaned in to help so many countless unsung American citizens whose names we will never know, gave their all to protect and defend, gave their all to increase the quality, enhance the quality, gave their all to help, and continue to do so every day. I'm about to, thanks to modern technology and our family's ability to afford, drive a vehicle down to the doctor's office to get my yearly checkup, to check on my blood pressure medications, and to check on my acoustic neuroma. Those people are there for me when I need them, at a cost of service, but there to help. How amazing, how lucky, how fortunate. Do you have the same services available to you, and are you able to afford them? Is that equality? But, I digress.
But threats, new in kind or degree, constantly arise.
Mm-hmm.
Of these, I mention two only.
Uh-oh.
A vital element in keeping the peace.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop him there, but I like that he says threats, and then, I'm going to just pick two. I'm only going to focus on two.
Peace is our military establishment. Our arms must be mighty, ready for instant action, so that no potential aggressor may be tempted to risk his own destruction. Our military organization today bears little relation to that known of any of my predecessors in peacetime.
We need to have a military so large that anyone that would dare tempt to fuck with it would think otherwise. Again, Marvel, Captain America, Nick Fury, when he produces the helicarriers. We will be able to analyze a threat before it even exists and neutralize it by holding a gun to everyone on the planet and calling it protection. This isn't freedom. This is fear.
Or indeed by the fighting men of World War II or Korea. Until the latest of our world conflicts, the United States had no armaments industry.
And for the past 4 years, we didn't enter a new war, quote unquote. We didn't deploy troops to a conflict? No, that's not true. We didn't pursue any operations that warranted the death of. No, that's not true. We didn't produce information that we gained through a network of spies. No, that's not true. So we didn't start a new war? Yeah. We went after the wrong people on 9/11 because Osama bin Laden was working for Saddam, yeah.
American makers of plowshares could, with time and as required, make swords as well. But
that, I remember being young and hearing that and feeling my spine tingle. Those that make plowshares could, in time, make swords. Those that produce your necessary equipment in order to feed you will also produce the things to destroy you. Okay, go on, Mr. President. If I can hit play.
we can no longer risk emergency improvisation of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment.
Now, that's back in 1961. I have not looked up what the population was, but he's saying 3 million men and women were in the armed services. U.S. 1961 population. Please hold while I Google box. 183.7 million people in 1961. So 183.7. 183.7 million Americans. And we had 3 million Americans in the armed services. Okay.
We annually spend on military security alone more than the net income of all United States corporations. Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications.
What would those be, Mr. President, former President?
Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Bow, bow, bow. I want to keep going, but I don't know if you do as well. If you do, you can seek this out on the internet. It is not hidden. And it is your right as a citizen to hear the words from your former presidents expressing their concerns in real time, in their present, so that they may hopefully shape their future to come, which ends up being our present, so that we may hopefully learn from their mistakes in order to shape our future to come, which will inevitably become our children's present. I can't be mad anymore. I can't have any more time for it. I can be disappointed, but I can't be rage-filled. So I have to commit to putting this energy somewhere. And if you'll have me, I'll continue putting it here. I'll jump on later. I'll share what it was like going into the hospital. Again, not that I am a reference point. Not that I have complete autonomy in this world. I know everything and am the way to be. But just, if what I'm going through, if what I'm feeling, if hearing it makes even one person go, yeah, man, fuck me too. Okay, then I made a connection. And you're not alone. I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. But I often feel as though, even for a moment, I just might be. Talk to you soon. Keep swinging. It's laid off.